Good morning everyone. Today is video day. Now my apologies, I must say, I'm very sorry that it's been so late. I've been working on what to work on today actually. I've been thinking about it, trying to work out the best way to approach this, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a short little program over a 7-8 week period where we're going to look at the chakras, and we're going to look at them in depth. So if you're not sure what chakras are, that's alright, stay tuned. Each week I'm going to do a little video for you. I'm going to give a brief indication of what each chakra is, what it means, where it's located, what it governs, etc, etc. And then what we'll do then is, if you'd like to know more information, I'm actually going to be holding a short course in a few months' time, which will go into it in a lot more detail. Well, I hope to be able to for you anyway. So today, first and foremost, I'd like to talk about breathing. Now, breathing is something we actually don't really think about. Now, the reason we tend not to think about it is because it's automatic. That means it's a part of our body where we don't have to think about it. Much the same as blinking. You don't consciously sit there and think how many times you blink per day. You don't sit there consciously thinking about how many times your heart beats every minute. So these are all governed by the what is known as the autonomic nervous system in the body. So it's basically the automatic processes that we have going on that we just don't have to think about it. Thank goodness. A few more things in our life we don't need to worry about. Now, one of the key components of breathing for me is that many people that I have come through my clinic here, through the practice, they don't actually realise that they're not breathing correctly. So they spend a lot of their days just going through their days simply breathing in, breathing out, but not really paying a lot of attention to how deep their breath is, where the breath's going. They're not feeling the breath. So it's almost like it's become so automatic that you're completely immune to what's going on. You have no idea what's really going on. And part of that is the fact that in this day and age we are so busy in our everyday lives, and we just forget to take that 10 minutes time out just to sit and relax. If you recall from my last video, I mentioned about taking a 5-minute meditation in the ladies, or in the toilet cubicles, or wherever you can just take 5 minutes in the shower, whatever it is, just to sit and consciously be aware of your body. The reason I discuss that is because in this day and age it is such an important tool for us to keep healthy, because the more you can be in tune with your body, the more you can be aware of what's going on in your body, the healthier you're going to be long term, and the less likely you're going to be to get any nastier illnesses as you get older. So part of what my journey on this planet is to provide a bit of education to people, which is something that I do in my practice every day. But today I would like to talk to you about breathing, as I said. So what I'd like to discuss with you first and foremost is the difference between shallow breathing and deep breathing. Now, the hypothalamus, which is a little component in the brain, actually regulates the body. So he's kind of like the king. He sits there and he pays attention to all the feedback mechanisms that are going on in the body, and then sends out a message to the relevant knights of the body, if you like, the noblemen that go out there and fix stuff. He sends a little message out there and says, hey, you know what, that's out of balance, we need to fix that up. So that's one of the jobs of the hypothalamus. So this constant balance, this constant keeping everything level, is actually known as homeostasis. So when I mention homeostasis, what I'm referring to is the balance within the body. So part of the reason that we actually breathe is to have this gaseous exchange, my apologies, between carbon dioxide and oxygen in the body. So through the regular processing that the body does every day, we produce carbon dioxide. It's what we tend to breathe out. So when we breathe in, we're taking in oxygen. It goes about, does what it needs to do, gets rid of the carbon dioxide, so then we exhale, and what we're exhaling is carbon dioxide. So this exchange continually goes on in the lungs every day. Now, shallow breathing. I'll just get to that real quick. Shallow breathing is when we're only breathing in the top half of our lungs. Okay? Now, our lungs take up virtually the entire capacity of the rib cage. So if you can find your top rib, which is actually around about here somewhere, and you find your bottom rib, in there is the lung. So when we shallow breathe, we're only breathing in the top 1/3 of our lungs. So definitely not getting enough into the body. Why do we shallow breathe? Well, it's another little story. Shallow breathing comes about through fright, terror, trauma, stress, being overwhelmed, being too busy, and just this whole not wanting to feel our emotions. When we don't want to feel our emotions, we suppress them. Okay? So we actually then, as a coping mechanism to deal with these emotions that we don't want to deal with, we begin shallow breathing. Now, the reason we shallow breathe is because deep breathing is where we feel. So anyone who's had anxiety, anyone who's had a traumatic life, childhood, whether it's childhood, adulthood, whatever, if there's any trauma that's been in your life, or if you're just so busy in your life that you don't take the time out to just sit still, what you're actually doing is you're pushing everything further deeper into the belly, and you breathe just up here, which means you can't feel it, you can't register it. Now, if you can't register it, your body can't reset itself. So shallow breathing really does take a huge health benefit away from us. So what we're trying to do, or what we need to do, is we need to deep breathe, and we need to deep breathe regularly. So how we do this? Well, there's 3 or 4 ways, most common ways anyway. One of them is called butterfly breathing, which I won't demonstrate for you today. I'll show that in another video. But one of the ways we do deep breathe is called butterfly breathing, and it basically involves complete expansion of the lungs and complete deflation of the lungs as we breathe. So we're breathing in, we raise our arms over our heads and so forth. So, but I don't want to talk about that one just at the moment. Another method that we have is centered breathing. Now, centered breathing is a very important one. What centered breathing does, or what centered breathing means, it involves just sitting still, closing your eyes, breathing in through your nose as deeply as you can. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to visualize the breath going into the body, down into the lungs, down to the toes, all the way, and then coming back up, out that way. Okay, so that's centered breathing. So you need to use your imagination and feel it going down the core of your body. Okay, this is correct. This is centered breathing. It's slow and it's deep, and it's done with the conscious thought of filling your entire being with air. Okay, and what this does is centered breathing not only can correct shallow breathing, it resets the module. So then the hypothalamus, which if you remember I said a little while ago was kind of like the king who governs the body, the hypothalamus, when you breathe properly, can register what's going on in the body. So it can register pain, it can register areas that need more blood, it can register how much gas is in the body, whether that be carbon dioxide or oxygen, it registers all your nutrients, all these things it can register, but only when we breathe correctly. So centered breathing is very, very important for health and well-being. The breathing that I would like to teach you today, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it, I may have to stand up, but what corrective breathing is it's resetting that mechanism in the body, consciously resetting that mechanism in the body, and it retrains the brain to ensure that deep breathing becomes a habit. Okay, so whatever your dominant hand is, now your dominant hand is the one that you write with, so I'm a right-handed person, so your dominant hand you place just on your abdomen. I'll just stand up a moment and show you where it goes. Okay, so you want your dominant hand here, just here at the abdomen, so about there's my belly button, so just above the belly button. You want to put your dominant hand there. Okay, and with your other hand, it doesn't get forgotten in the process. Your non-dominant hand you place just above your heart, so right up here at the top. Okay, I hope you can see that. Now, as you breathe in, what you want to be consciously thinking of is raising the hand that's on the abdomen, i.e. your dominant hand. You want to raise that first as you bring in the air. Secondly, you want to raise your non-dominant hand, i.e. you want the chest to rise. Okay? Once you've done that, then as you release the air, you want your non-dominant hand or your chest to fall first as you exhale, and then your abdomen to fall. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. So, if you'd like to give it a try with me now, you can. So place your dominant hand on your abdomen, and you place your non-dominant hand, in my case my left, just on your chest. And so what you want to be doing, and I'm going to have to stand up again, so please bear with me a moment. What you want to be doing is you want to expand down here first, and then you want to raise the chest. Geez, I hope this is working well for you. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So consciously close your eyes now for a moment. Just stop for a bit. Think about where you're breathing. Place your non-dominant hand on your chest and your dominant hand on your abdomen. And when we're going to take a breath in, and I'd like you to try and think about counting till 6. Okay, if you can. 4 is a good start though. And what you want to do is you want to consciously, almost thinking about, I wouldn't say forcing, but you really want the conscious breath to go to your abdomen first. Okay, so we're going to go in now. And then the chest raises, and you just can hold that for a few minutes. And then what we're going to do is blow out through our mouth. The chest goes down, and then the abdomen goes down. We're going to try that again. So we're going to breathe into our abdomen, in through the nose, and then the chest, and then we're going to release the chest, and then we're going to release the abdomen. Okay? So I hope this works for you. It's very, very important. It does take a lot of practice, so please be patient with yourself. But what you need to remember is dominant hand on your abdomen. So if you're normally a right-hander, your right hand dominant. If you're normally a left-hander, then it's left hand dominant. Okay? So we place our dominant hand on our abdomen, and we place our non-dominant hand just on our upper chest. And when you take some breaths in, the idea is that the dominant hand goes outwards first, and then the non-dominant hand goes outwards as we inhale. Then as you're exhaling, we want your non-dominant hand to go downwards, as the breath is exhaled. We want this to go down first, and then your abdomen. Okay, so I hope that works for you. It's been a pleasure showing you that, and I'd love to hear any stories that you've got about practicing your breathing and how often you do it. And I'd also love to hear if you've noticed any difference. If you could do that for me for a week, that'd be awesome. I'd really love to hear your stories. Okay, so that's it for me today. Next week we'll have something else. I'll move into the chakras, I'll give you a little bit more information, and I'll demonstrate butterfly breathing for you next week. Okay, so I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and as usual I'll put this up on Facebook as well as on my website once I work out how to do that, and I'll see you next week. Ciao for now. Bye.